My beautiful friend.
I love that. I love that introduction.
I am so happy
I'm just
that
gonna
you're
take
here.
that.
It's,
I'm gonna take that.
You're really busy, and you're just doing so much that I had to bring you on. And I know it was so hard. And you know what? The worst part is that it's hard, and she is really my friend. And I think it's double. It's double work for me.
Yeah.
It's like, friend check. Wait a second. I'll get back to you. No, I'm like, I need you on my podcast, queen.
Oh, thank you. But we were how many months have you been planning doing this?
Listen,
a long time.
Like 4 months.
4 months, right? But guess what I believe? I believe it's the right timing is now. There's never better than the now.
I give that to you. And I've learned that from you. Things happen when they're supposed to happen.
Yeah, everything happens for a reason.
So Yudy Veras Bueno.
Yes, dígame, Claudia y Noah.
Talk to me. Give us the list. But what's on the top of the list?
Well, like you said, there's so many things going on. All great things, right? The first thing is, growing my coaching practice.
Okay.
And I have to say, thanks to you, really. I wanted to say it publicly. Because I don't know, people don't know that when I opened my practice,
right,
my audience was very, tú sabes, blanca. No tenía latinos. And you were my first.
Yo fui la primera latina.
Sí, totalmente. Do you remember that?
I remember that porque yo hablé contigo y tú me dijiste, yo quiero que tú sepas que tú eres la primera latina que yo tengo como cliente.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
I was like, oh shit, I'm touched. Okay.
And it wasn't not for any reason. It just happened that way. And then I remember when you said, oh my God, we need you so badly in real estate. And that's how real estate became my niche. Because of that.
I'm so happy you did it, because I always told you, like, I don't know, for 1 minute there you doubted it. And I was like, are you kidding me?
Well, the thing I asked you, like, why do you think they need me so badly? They have a lot of coaching, they're already, kind of doing their things.
And you remember what I said?
I remember where you said, well, the type of coaching that you do is very different.
It is different.
So how is it different? Claudia and Noah?
You have to know. You have to let free that little girl inside.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing that I definitely always attribute to you.
The healing of the inner child.
Yes, taking care of that little girl inside. Yeah. And this is the thing, Yudy. I've been in coaching for a long time. I've done Tom Ferry. I'm an elite coaches. He's #1 coach,
and top coaches, boo. I know.
Yeah, and I still am coaching right now with different coaches, but this is different because I had to understand how I was feeling inside.
Yeah.
Before I could get all those things rolling, right? Like, I want to be a #1 agent, but the #1 agent had a very sad little girl inside.
Yeah. And the thing, here's the deal. The deal is that, and you were totally right, 100%. Because at the beginning, it's like, how do they need me in that industry, right?
Yeah.
And you say, we do need you because we do have the business plan, we have the goals, we know what to do. It's a numbers game. We know how many calls we need to do, but the problem is the fear behind it. The fear of rejection, the fear of exposing yourself, and so, like, so many fears, right?
I can't wait for you to. So, you have different coaches for different things, right? And this is the magic here that I want to make sure that everyone understands. So I can't wait to introduce you to my new business coach, which is Veronica Figueroa.
Looking forward to Veronica.
Yes, because it is completely different. And now I understand even more when she said to me once, and this was maybe 2 years ago, it's a different type of coaching.
It is. It's very different.
And the same thing with you. It was totally different, right? In order for me to move on from my business and get those goals together, I really needed to heal that inner child.
It is. And what people don't understand is, like I get a lot of questions and, they ask, but that happened so many years ago, 20 years ago,
Yes.
30 years ago, 40 years ago. But here's the deal. The deal is that, 90% of the things we do, and I want you guys to hear this. This is important. 90% of the things we do is usually from the subconscious, right? 90% of our decisions come from the subconscious mind. Yes, and the subconscious mind is rational. It's the irrational mind. It's not like the logic mind that you totally, the logic mind is the problem solving, but the subconscious is not.
Right.
And so if we have any traumas from the past, childhood traumas during your teenage year, those things we carry because the subconscious doesn't know the difference in between present moment and past.
Exactly.
It doesn't have that differentiation. If you get triggered by something, like say that there's a fear of rejection, and you get triggered by that fear, that fear is based on what is called a reference point. A reference point is an experience that happened in the past. And it happened like this, like it's not, you don't get up out of your bed thinking, oh, I'm going to think of, no, you don't. The majority of people say, well, I don't dwell in the past, but it's not about dwelling. It's about a programming that is running and it gets triggered.
And
right?
sometimes we do want to just push these emotions down and hide them. Because we've been taught that it's better if we put it away.
And I have to say, I've been working with Latinas now. When I started working with you, it was kind of like a nonstop, right? Like the majority of my clients right now are
What
Latinas.
happened? I brought you the flood. Are you trying to say that I brought you the flood of the Latinas? I
have to say you did. You make me see something, of the need in our own communities.
Oh my God,
right?
you did the same for me, though. You did the same for me.
That's the spirit of collaboration, right?
Yes.
Over competition. And that's so important, right?
Absolutely.
To help our community, to help each other grow. I think that is so important. And so what I see in Latinas is like this need to self-sacrifice, like to put yourself in the back burner, to take care of your family, your kids, your partner, your friends, everybody and their mother. And guess what? That's all good. But what about you? Like if you fall apart, like the women are the glue that keeps our society together. And if you
Amen.
Fucking amen. Can I say that?
Absolutely. You can say whatever the fuck you want here.
Awesome. So the idea is that, we need to understand that we need to start investing in ourselves.
Yes.
We invest in our businesses. We invest in our, homes. We invest in our kids and our partner.
Our cars,
everything. But then the majority of women are leaving themselves for last. And now, they leave it, they're doing like, that's the interesting thing. Like I work with so many go-getters, like drivers, warrior women. I love them. I really love them. But when they come to me, it's like that sense of overwhelmness, like being overwhelmed, and not knowing where to begin. Like why do I feel this way?
Right.
It's like I have achieved so much, but I'm still feeling this way.
Why do I feel this way? Exactly.
Which was your question, right?
I remember. I'm like, I'm doing better every year. I do even more. And I mean, for me, I have to say it's never enough, but
but that's a need for growth though. That's different.
Yes. But it was always like I was missing something.
Yes, there was.
Right. So then of course we got connected and we did a lot of work.
We did, and that was very in-depth work.
Yeah, it's something that had to be done.
Yeah, I remember one thing you said during the conference. Claudia did this amazing event. I am so proud of you. Like, I am so proud of you because when we started working, that was one of the things that you said. Say, I want to do this event. I want to, bring women together, build a community, empowerment, all these things. And I'm like, it's gonna happen. Everything at the right time. It's gonna happen.
I'm like, no, I run it now.
I remember. And it's so beautiful what you have built.
Oh, thank
Me
you.
being there as part of that
Thank you for
event.
being part of that event.
Yes, it was beautiful. Like speaking for our community, giving them resources to grow.
Yeah.
I think that's what we need to do, right?
I think that as Latinas, we
do.
definitely need the support. And you know what? A lot of us don't say this all the time, but there is this, I want to say, barrier, like, of helping each other
Yeah.
that, Judy, we need to stop that shit. It's like, instead of helping each other, it's always like, oh, yeah, I'm better.
It's like
Or,
that.
like,
I call it the. And
what the hell is that shit?
This is what I have heard some people call this the mean girl syndrome, right? And it's sort of like,
I don't know. I think we're one step more. We're two steps more than the mean girl syndrome.
Maybe you're right. But what I see is, you remember when we were doing the work, when we talked about the human needs, right? We have
Yes.
needs. We have this need for significance.
Yes.
Which is the need to feel important, to feel that I matter, that I'm not invisible, right?
Right.
And so when that need for significance is extremely high in some people, then they want the spotlight. They want it to be about themselves, but it is a normal need.
Right.
Wanted to be seen, right? And also that's the need for belonging, the need for love, yes. But then when these needs are so high that we don't we get triggered. Let's say that somebody is doing great and somehow
Let's talk about that.
yeah.
I think we need to talk about that.
Let's talk about that.
Right? Because I know I've seen it all the time. Like, it's hard for someone to say, hey, she's doing great.
It is.
And clapping for her and showing up for your friend.
Yeah. Well, that's that thing for significance is there, but it's also this, I think this, if I always say that the people that you surround yourself with,
Yes.
you become like them, right? They influence your life. So you have to be very careful on like the 5 people that are closer to you, who they are.
Yeah.
Yes. Because if you feel like, if you have a dream, but you're not able to fulfill that dream for whatever reason, any fear you might have, fear of failure, rejection, whatever it is,
Yeah.
when somebody is able to fulfill that dream that kind of look like what you would like to do, there is that sense of like jealousy and the sense of, and I think that is something that in our community happens a lot.
Yes. Do you think that it's more?
I wouldn't say that it's more or not, but I see because of,
Okay, so let me just bring this to you. For example, I mentioned this to you. At my event, I knew when I was planning my event that there were some people that I needed to highlight at my event.
Yes. Thank you. I was one of them.
Yes.
I was so proud.
You are one of them, and that's just exactly it, because you need to step back and say, it's okay for me to clap for you
Yes.
and be able to give you the stage.
Or hold a space for you, right?
Yes,
Holding
but
a
we
space
all
for
have
each
some
other.
time,
Yes.
right? So why I don't see that a lot between the Latinas, the support.
Part of it, I believe, is like it also have to do with maturity.
Yeah.
Like in order for you to help each other and cooperate and understand that if you are growing, that doesn't mean that it's actually better if I see you grow because you can serve as a blueprint for me to grow with you.
Okay, but that's not what we're raised.
Exactly.
Thinking.
It's that idea of like if somebody's doing better than that makes me realize how mediocre or inadequate I am. And
Right.
it goes back to my need for significance, for my lack of confidence, my lack of self-worth. So when somebody is...
Do you think that that's in general with all Latinos, or is it something that you see more in women?
Women might not like this, okay? But I see that more in women than anything else.
I agree. I see it more in women.
In the corporate arena even more. It's like this competition is like, there's no trust. They're like this need to, step on you in order for me to grow.
Yeah.
And I think that's hindering our community.
It
because
is.
other communities, you see like if you look at us as a community, Latinos in general, we're growing so fast, especially women's in business, entrepreneur. We are one of the fastest growing market of any ethnicity, women's, Latina
Right.
women's. We're opening businesses every day. Yes, but there is this lack of collaboration. I mean, I think it's changing because especially with this type of thing, the podcasting and
Yes.
blogging and things like that, we are talking about these things now.
Yeah.
And it's important that we do, because when we compete instead of collaborate, then we are missing out. Because, for instance, there we did a lot of work together. Yes, like
Yes.
we work on your personal stuff and your inner child, but I also learned so much from you. You coached me through business. I remember coming into your office and doing a business plan that was like what, 2 years ago.
Yes.
And after that, I mean, part of me being so busy is because you had helped me.
Oh my God.
And so you should be very proud for that, because you're a great
well,
mentor
thank
too.
you.
But the idea is that if I help you grow,
Yeah.
all I can do is grow with you, right?
Exactly.
And we need to move away from the pettiness of like taking things personally and being somehow resentful of somebody who's growing.
Yeah.
Because it's just, as a community, it's not going to help us.
I
We're not
totally-
going to grow.
I think that everything is a lot more difficult. Tell me, you saw the article and you saw the video that I did about that
I
article.
actually I have the article on my phone. I was reading coming here.
What are your comments?
Oh my God.
Go ahead.
It's
Unleash.
only so
How do you
like
feel?
working with the Latino community, especially women's, it made me realize, really, I gained a whole new respect for women's, for Latinas, for us, including myself.
Yes.
Right? Because there is this stereotype about Latinas, right? That is either,
We're too loud.
we're too loud, we're too spicy, we're too passionate. And guess what?
We're too passionate, boo.
Maybe we are. I take
It's
that.
okay.
But I don't see that as a problem. But we need to be careful that those type of stereotype is not shadowing our, how smart we are, how strong we are, how resilient we are. I mean, we have this sense of like, we're not afraid of work. We
Right.
are working hard every fucking day of our lives, and we love it. And you know why is that? It's because when we come here, right? I know that you were born here, but I wasn't.
But you came here.
I
Go
came
ahead.
here, and your parents did too.
Absolutely.
And they sacrificed everything for you to do what you were able to do today.
Right.
You see, so the idea is when we come from our country, we leave everything. People don't understand. People that are not in our communities don't understand the sacrifice that we have to do to be here, because we leave our countries not because we don't like it. We love our countries, but it's because we believe in the American dream.
Right.
Like-
and the
like
opportunities.
that
are here.
everybody is
Yeah.
equal, that everybody have an opportunity. But here's the deal. The deal is that the other stereotype is like immigrant as a taker. Like, oh, you come and you take. Fuck no.
Yeah.
We come and we're giving every tear, every blood we're giving to this country, and that's because we choose to. And yes, the country is also giving back to us. It's an exchange.
Yeah.
But we are putting so much into it, into the economy of this country, to the United States of America. I mean, now they were, I don't remember the source, but they were saying that if we were a country, we would be the fifth largest economy, Latinos in the United States. That's how big we are. But then we are underrepresented.
So yeah.
In every aspect, we are underrepresented. And I was looking at the statistic on the article that you were
Yes.
citing. I think it was Forbes, right?
It was Forbes, yeah.
And they were saying that women's more than men are underrepresented. We're
Yes.
like executive.
So forget about being Latina or not. women are still
Yes, but more like
Yes,
Latina
yes.
women are underrepresented, and the problem with that is, people would say, well, what's the challenge with that? Well, the challenge with that is when you go in the media and you have these stereotypes of what they're putting out there, the image of the Latina or the Latino, like what you're supposed to look like, how you're
Yes.
supposed to sound like, right? Then when our kids, our kids are being born here and they watch that, and they might feel ashamed of where they come from, who they are, and so we need to change that stereotypical idea of Latino, Latina, who we are as a community, as individual, right? And working with all these amazing women, I realized that we have a responsibility.
You've always said that to me. You said that to me. Like, Claudia, you have a responsibility.
We have a responsibility.
And I'm like, what are you talking about, Judy?
Well, I'm talking about this. This is what I'm talking about. We can fucking complain all we want. Yes? We can say we are discriminated, we're not taken into consideration, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But my question is, what are we doing about it?
Exactly.
What are we doing about that? Because my thing is, if you're not happy with something, but you fucking do something about it. Like, you need to do something about it. Otherwise, don't complain.
Right. No, okay? I have to say that from our conversations, there's a lot of things that I've been changing and like, okay, I'm not happy about that. So how can I change it? What am I doing?
Well, first of all, doing this, this type of podcasts and blogging and articles and books are amazing. That's I have a passion for books.
So do I.
It saved my life, really. As a child, when my father died, I was 7. From 7 to 13, I would say from 7 to 16 was pretty difficult for me. And books actually helped me. I remember reading The Alchemist, right?
Yes.
That's an amazing book. It came out in 1988. Paulo Coelho, which is one of the brilliant author. And it gave me the ability to dream. It gave me the ability to explore and to know that there was possibilities. And so when I say, we can complain, but the deal is that we need to do something about it. So when I realized, that our community were underserved and I work with you, I said, you know what? And I remember I told you this.
You said.
We need to work more with our community, really, Claudia.
I didn't even see it then when we had the conversation.
Yeah.
But soon after, I understood, like, what am I doing to help and contribute? And ever since then,
Because, look, I am a coach, right? And a very different coach from, like, all the business coaches. And we already talked about that, yes. And so I realized that there was a need, because how many coaches, like women's, Latina, like me, Hispanic, like do you have? How many? Like you can, on the specific thing that I do.
Right.
Like how many you have out there? Well, guess what? We don't have enough. We need to train this, new generation in order to do things like that. But also when it comes to underrepresentation, I'm like, what can I do as an individual to help? And that's part of my project that is coming.
Yes.
You're the first one they're going to know. I mean, we did had a live event that we
You had a little soft live, yes.
Yeah, a little soft, but yes. So one of the things that I decided, because I think it was, when you go into your comfort zone, and you go into a little
You
cocoon.
were comfortable.
I was very comfortable. I was, seeing my clients one-on-one, and it was great. Before the pandemic, I did what I call healing circles.
Yes.
And so that was a lot.
Yes.
You remember, that was a lot. It was everywhere. Every week I was like somewhere. Yes. And then when the pandemic hit, I was doing it online.
We were doing lives.
Yes, we were doing lives too. But then it got up to a point that I was burning out and I needed a break. And so I took that break. And I think I got very comfortable in my little cocoon, yes.
You did.
And then it was like, you need to get out of the cave.
You need to get out of there.
And that's when you said, Judy, you should be doing more speaking, really. So I started doing more speaking. Now I'm being speaking like at the NARA events,
Yes.
different groups, Latino groups. This is basically I want to be part more of that of our community, and so that's one of the things that I'm doing more now is speaking. And you
Estaba
will see.
Yudy hablando en español. Yo te vi hablando en español en Connecticut.
Sí. Ahí se me fueron una mala palabrita y de todo. Un reguero dominicano, que cuando yo dije que yo era dominicana, se fue abajo, digo yo, ¿y de dónde salieron toda esta gente?
Ahí fue que ella enseñó
Ahí
her
fue.
true colors.
Ahí está, coño, mira, ahí, de que no se puede.
No.
Se le sale de una vez el
That's it.
cibaeño. So that's one of the part of my projects. I'm doing more of that now. And also, I wanted to do all this thing. I wanted to publish more books, right? I'm writing 2 books.
Yes, because you already have a beautiful book.
I do. Thank you. The Becoming of a Light Warrior. That
Yes.
it took me. Here's what I realized. For me to get that book out, it took me 3 years, and so much resources. That was insane. And then I was thinking, we're underrepresented. There's not enough authors out there, Latinos author. Like, what can I do to bridge the gap? Like, to help. And so I was.
Because I've even said to you, I want to write a book.
I know. And I think that you need to. And I'm going to be there, like, coach.
So this is what I've heard. It's a lot. And it's expensive, and I mean, it's by the time I started inquiring about it. It was like, oh God, do I really need to do this? Like, I already have this, my baby of the, claim your throne queen, which that we added the queen.
Amazing, yes.
And then I looked into the books, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do that this year.
So what happened is yes, it can become really expensive if you don't have, like, if you don't understand what to do, if you don't have the understanding, the resources in terms of the people, the right people to help you, editors, right? Because you need editors, you need a graphic designer, you need a marketing campaign,
you need a team.
You can write a book, but you actually need a team to make it work. And so I listen to you. I do listen to you.
You listen to me.
I do listen to you.
I just give her a lot of homework.
She does. And she said, well, how can we do this? Like, what are you doing about this? You already wrote a book. Like, what are we doing? So I was looking to partner with somebody who can help me creating a structure for this. And I've been, looking for the last 3 years.
Wow.
And I think I've finally found the right people to partner with. This is 2 amazing women. It's a mom and daughter. They opened their business, their publishing business. I will say it's a multimedia marketing.
Okay.
In 2020 during the pandemic, and these women, it's a movement. They're like global. They are.
I love it. They opened through the pandemic.
Yes, it's so.
Doesn't that just say everything?
It's these warrior women, and guess what? They have Latino background.
Okay.
And so they have. How many books have they published? I think it's so far 12. Don't quote me on that. It's She Rises Studios.
She Rises.
She Rises.
Wow.
It's like
She Rises. Got it.
Right. And so I met them in September, and we hit it up. Hannah Oliva invited me to her podcast. I was guest. We love it. We had a lot of fun doing it. And then we met in California. She invited me to go there and just learning from each other.
Okay.
And then we said, how can we collaborate? How can we create something? And I said, well, I really want to do something for the Latino community. How? Because we are underrepresented. We have so many amazing stories. Tribal women's. When you write a book, it's not just, yes, it does establish you as an expert in your field, right? That was the first thing I did.
I feel that. It does.
It's the first thing I did when I started my career as a coach. I wrote my book, because it does give you a sense of you know what you're talking about, right? Like you wrote a book, you must know where
You must know what
Yeah.
you're talking about, right?
Because you like my book is like what, like 200 something pages, so I have something to say. Um, but what it did to me is the intangible, right? The credibility, the ability to take my message to different channels, different media, TV, radio, magazines, everywhere. Yes.
Yes, because
So-
you've done all this already. I saw
yes.
you do it with your book.
Exactly. So I was everywhere, Univision, Telemundo, everywhere. And the thing is that it gives you the ability to spread your message and tell people, I'm serious about this. I'm
Right.
serious about, because it does take work, and it does take resources, right? So I decided we're working right now on the technicalities, legalities, building the website, building everything. But we are officially launching in March, Women's Month.
Of course, I was gonna say in March. Of course, that's my month.
Yes, and I'm so excited because we have it all. We have the ability to publish books, right? We're a publisher. I'm recording my first podcast on the next week.
Okay.
Right, to launch that.
Wow.
We have magazines. We have a TV channel. I mean, we have it all. And so it is.
Oh my God,
it's-
this is
it's-
exciting.
Yes, and I already created the Instagram account that She Rises Latina. And it's the ability, we have to give our people a voice. And one of the things that I realize is also, nosotros los latinos tenemos que empezar a entender que nosotros, we need to tell our stories. We are allowing other people to tell our stories. And those other people, they might not understand our stories, right?
Okay.
So we need to be able to take control of our narrative, to change the narrative.
Okay.
Because what's the
Yes.
narrative right now? Immigrants are taker. They come here, they take your jobs, they a lot of in welfare or things like that.
Oh, they're less.
Or
do
they're not
things-
educated.
They do things for less. All those stereotypes. Yes.
Exactly.
that-
And so we need to change the narrative because here's the honest truth, and I'm going to confess here, is that me working with all these women and see what they're capable of doing and what they're doing.
Yes.
Women like yourself, women like Michelle Fermin, women like Kathy in Connecticut, women,
Yes.
like all these amazing women. Nelly Soto, who is like the first president of the National Association for Real Estate. I believe we're in the Northeast. If I'm missed, just forgive me. Find out Nelly Soto.
But we
She's
remember
amazing.
her.
You know what I mean? For me, it was re-educating myself on what it is that we're doing, because what are the avatar that we see on TV
Right.
that
Exactly.
represent us.
Exactly.
Are those accurate? Guess what? They're not. They're not accurate, right? Because we're not taker, we're givers. We are thrivers. We are warriors. We work so hard.
Yeah.
you
And we
know?
are powerful. We're powerful.
Fucking powerful, and we have no idea. So we need to take control of our narratives and tell a story, but tell the story how it is, right? Accurate,
Right.
The struggles. It's not easy. You see that idea of like everybody have the same opportunity? It's bullshit.
That's
man.
bullshit. Yeah, it totally is.
We create.
We
our
create it. There you
opportunities.
go.
We
create.
Nobody come and give us anything for
Yes.
free. We create
We
our
create
opportunities.
the opportunities.
And we need to be proud of that.